So for me, I did a film that was wanted to get attention in these times. Well, between I was maybe 12 and 25, it was my biggest interest there was skiing and the kind of free ride skiing that you do in the mountains when you go off piste. And I think it was something to be playful with the given circumstances. You know, you look at the mountain and you see the possibilities of doing something, and you have to use these possibilities. And then it's always like a risk involved. So the moment when you're going for a run that is a little bit risky, or you're filming someone doing a run that is a little bit risky, there's a very strong presence. Everybody's like super focused, and here and now is what matters. And when it came to me, when I was making my fiction films, I always try to create just as strong presence when you are shooting a film as when you are skiing a very dangerous phase. So everybody should be super concentrated. Everybody should consider this here and now as the most important moment in the world. This is then since 1998 I started at the film school. So from 1 year, this was completely my world. All my friends were here. All my thoughts were in the mountains. And then I started at film school, and I said goodbye to the world of skiing from one day to another. And since 98, I've been interested in making films. I started to make documentary films, but then after that, I started with fiction. So my first film I did after the film school was a fiction feature film. And I started to work with people that I met at the school, and that have become my friends and I have been working with together now for over 20 years. So I have developed together with some other people, directors that were in the school that then started to produce instead of directing. Erik Hemmendorf, Kalle Boman, that is like my mentor, that I have been working with filmmaking since the 60s. So it's a group of friends that also in the world of fiction filmmaking, it's a group of friends that works very tightly together. And I think that every film that we have done, we have tried to create a new goal for ourselves, to push ourselves to do something that we feel is risky in some way, that we don't control 100%, and to put up challenges for ourselves. I think that one of the challenges for cinema today is that if you make people leave the screen at home and go to cinema to watch something together with other people, it has to be an experience to see it in that room together with other people physically present. And if it's a film that in some way is not challenging the audience, you're not using the cinema in the best possible way. And I can just give you an example of what I'm doing with my next film. I'm making a film called The Entertainment System is Down, and it takes place on a long-haul flight. And I have said that I have a scene that is going to be the biggest walkout in the history of Cannes Film Festival. And that scene is basically where the audience in the cinema is challenged with the same kind of setup as the passengers on the flight. Because the passengers of the flight, they are on this long-haul flight that is 20 hours long. And they have no entertainment system. The entertainment system has stopped working. And in one of the scenes, it will be two kids that are fighting to get the iPad that have battery. And the father, he loses his temper a little bit, and he says, you have to accept it, it's boring sometimes. And they keep on nagging about who is going to have the iPad. And he goes, you know what, now I take time, 10 minutes from now, just sit down and relax and accept that it's boring. And it's almost that he's talking to the audience. And from being in a film that is told in a normal pace, we end up in a real-time shot where I'm not cutting. And I hope that the audience will get the challenge. Yeah, it's not only the characters in the film that are challenged now with boredom, it's us also sitting in the cinema. And I think it's going to go very quickly before the audience is going to be provoked. Because one thing that I really think is provocative is when we change the pace, when we go into slower rhythm. It's a very clear setup, and it provokes a fantasy from the audience that hears about the setup. How is this going to play out? The same thing when it comes to, for an example, then entertainment system is down. Long haul flight, modern human beings, no entertainment. We are already starting to create images what is going to happen on that flight. So I love clear setups where you can identify, something is going to happen, and I can identify with the problems of handling this. Then I have also been very interested in public spaces, you know, like a ship or a bus or a tram or an airplane, because it's something that we have to get along with each other, almost like in a small micro society. So from the point of view where I am standing, because I'm interested in looking at human behavior, how do we behave? And I'm not so interested in the individual. I'm not so interested in differences in good or bad or things like that. I'm interested in how the materialistic setup of a situation is changing our behavior. So therefore it's interesting with a mountain, because in a mountain we are constantly dealing with a potential danger. Or in an airplane, we have to deal with traveling together for a certain amount of hours with the limitation of that space. So for me, it gives me the possibility to play around with a very clear setup. So it was many ideas with the projects here that I think is very sympathetic. And I was also interested in these, you know, these skyscrapers almost just put down in the middle of the mountain. So on the hillsides here, all of a sudden you have this little artificial village that have been built in as one project, as one economical calculation. So I was not only in Les Arcs when we were trying to figure out where we're going to shoot it. I was also in Avoriaz. Maybe you know, it's a similar kind of architecture there. But we ended up in shooting in Arc 1800. So then I spent like one winter in these mountains and around every building looking for angles and trying to find the best place to shoot the film. And I got to know the people in the village of Bourg Saint-Moritz, and I also, in connection with this film, I got to know Pierre Manuel that runs the festival. And back then, it's 10 years now actually, it was 2012. It's interesting to see how the festival have developed. The mountain is the same. I recognize the mountain 100%, but I can tell that the festival have become quite much bigger.